We strapped a cinema camera to a motorcycle helmet and created a cinematic first-person travel film, and this is exactly how we did it. Really quickly, I want to thank everybody for all the kind words and support on our last video. We're so glad that you guys are enjoying it. If you haven't seen the last video, I highly recommend you go and do that because this is going to be a behind the scenes of that video. So probably wouldn't make much sense if you haven't seen the last video. In this video, we're going to be going over everything that we did to pull that video off, including the pre-production, production, and post-production, the rig and the lens and so much more. So let's get into it. First things first, we're gonna touch on the rig, and this is the rig right here. At its core, it is a Harley-Davidson motorcycle helmet that we have then attached this metal L bracket to, and now it holds a Sony a7S III upside down right in front of the person's face for a first-person perspective. Now, if you are a longtime fan of the channel, you'll know that last time we used this rig, and for the last video that we made that was POV, we used the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. This time around, we want to switch it up and actually use the Sony a7S III. We want to use a full frame camera, as well as the Sony a7S III is just a little bit lighter, and when this thing is going on your head, any amount of weight that you can shave off, the better. That leads me to my next point, which is the actual weight of this rig. When we had the Blackmagic on here, it was clocking in at around 13 pounds. With the Sony on here, it's now clocking in at around 11 pounds. That 2-pound difference doesn't sound like a whole lot, but when this is on your neck, it is actually a lot, and Steven has actually said it is so much more comfortable. Even right now, my arm is getting tired holding this thing up. A very common question that we get often with this rig is what lens are we using? Because that's pretty much the most important part of this rig, and we're actually using 2 different lenses. One of our biggest concerns was finding a lens that had all of the characteristics that we needed. One that had hard stops for the focus, it was light, as well as it also had a pretty shallow depth of field. So with all of that in mind, we landed on 2 lenses, which are the Laowa 12mm f2.8 and the Laowa 15mm f2. The reason we had 2 lenses was because we used each lens in different situations. We actually used the 15mm for most of the shots that you guys saw in the POV video. However, we have the 12mm for portrait shots for when we do commercial or freelance shoots. The 12mm is just a little bit wider and also gives your hands a bit more room to move when it's in that portrait orientation. Both of these lenses are very sharp and extremely well built, and at such a wide focal length, a f2 or f2.8 gives your footage a very unique look, which is really cool to see. Also, both lenses are considered 0D lenses, which means zero distortion, and that was one of the most important characteristics that we were looking for when looking for lenses for this project, because we didn't want our footage to have that fisheye look, and these lenses don't do that. So all things considered, these lenses ended up being perfect for the project. Probably one of the biggest modifications that we made to this helmet rig is actually the addition and use of a V-mount battery to power everything on the helmet. If you remember last time, we had like 13 batteries just to power this rig, as well as the handle and everything, which made our lives so hard to keep everything charged, especially when things started dying. It wasn't ideal. So we decided to modify this rig so 1 V-mount battery powers everything, like the wireless video transmitter, as well as the focus pulling motor and everything else that we have on the rig. So much easier to keep track of what's charged and what's not. And it also lasts a lot longer, which is really, really nice. Another modification that I made to the helmet itself, which I'm actually quite proud of myself, is this guy. It's actually a walkie-talkie insert in the helmet. So what I've done is I've taken a walkie-talkie as well as a little handheld radio part, disassembled that, and put the speaker in where the ears are in the helmet, and also put the microphone at the front, and made it so that you can actually connect a walkie-talkie like this guy to the cable here, and now I can talk to Steven and it goes right to his ears.
How's it going?
This is so cool. So we've got it set up here so that Steven has a microphone in the helmet itself, and just by hitting that button there,
I can talk to Mitchell.
Oh dear, let's not do that. If you remember to the last BTS video that we made for our POV video back in 2020, you will remember that there was quite a bit of yelling because we couldn't actually communicate to each other. Okay, constant communication is usually key. I can't hear what you say. Fishing, yes, no.
What? I did not hear what you said. I don't have a question.
Can I fish?
You fish with a fishing rod?
Can I fish? So this walkie-talkie upgrade has made our lives so much easier and has made it way better to communicate with each other. So it's a full two-way communication, which makes it so there's a whole lot less screaming. Can I fish? So pretty much the entire reason why we decided to strap a big camera to a helmet like this is for the use of depth of field. This is pretty much the entire reason why we decided to go with this rig versus using a smaller camera like a GoPro. Because the issue with a GoPro is that everything is in focus. But with this rig, it allows the foreground to be in focus while the background is out of focus and is a lot closer to how your eyes actually operate. And because of that, that's why you need two people to operate this rig. You have one person actually operating the camera and wearing this helmet on their head, as well as a second person who has this, which is kind of our DIY focus pulling setup. This is one of the main things that separates this rig from anything else you've seen out there. We want to prioritize shallow depth of field as it gives you this really specific and unique look. Now this is our homemade focus pulling contraption. It has a great big monitor on the front here so that the operator can see exactly what the camera sees, and it has a wireless video transmitter on the back. It has the focus pulling motor right here, and it's all run off of a single V-mount battery, very much like the helmet. So with this whole setup, the focus puller can be off screen and monitor the shot as well as pull focus at the same time. At its core, this is a wooden handle that I made out of a piece of plywood, and I've screwed everything in, also kind of soldered some wires so everything gets powered from the single V-mount battery. And that's pretty much it for this whole rig. It's a little bit jerry-rigged, but it definitely works and gets the job done. Moving right along, we want to talk about the actual shooting of this project. But before I do that, I just want to give a big thank you to our friend and fellow filmmaker, Aiden Feddersen. Aiden came on the trip with us and helped us immensely with the shooting and production and basically everything when it came to putting this whole project together. So Aiden, thank you very much for all your help. His Instagram is going to be linked down below and you should definitely go and follow him. Our idea for this video was to showcase what a perfect day in Vancouver would look like. So that meant doing all of the most iconic activities like going to the aquarium and riding your bike through Stanley Park and a couple other ones like that. Really quickly, I want to give a shout out to Juan for helping us with this video. He was our model for all the biking scenes. We actually had a different model already lined up, but the morning of the shoot, our model actually canceled on us. So we posted on Instagram and Juan pulled through and was able to help us out. So Juan, if you're watching, thank you very much. You really saved the day. His Instagram is going to be linked down below and you should definitely go and follow him. Probably one of the coolest activities that we ended up doing on this shoot was the helicopter ride. This is something that we knew we wanted to have to really showcase that perfect day in Vancouver. So I want to give another big shout out again to Sky Helicopters. They were able to hook us up with a deal on our helicopter ride. And if you're ever in the Vancouver, BC area, I highly, highly recommend them if you want to go on a helicopter tour. One of the main problems that we had was how we were going to film inside the helicopter. Because the helicopter is so cramped, getting the helmet rig in there wasn't going to be possible. So on our way to go on the helicopter ride, we stopped at Home Depot and picked up a piece of wood and some bolts and made this kind of jerry-rigged mouth mount.
A little bit of hotel woodworking.
Hotel woodworking. So what we could do is actually have Steven bite on the piece of wood here, and then it would allow him to have two hands free so we can get the shots that we needed to get. It definitely wasn't perfect, and Steven was saying that his jaw was cramping by the end of the ride, but it was good enough for us to get the few shots that we needed. And that's pretty much it for the production of the actual video. There is so much more that we could go into, but this video would be way too long. So we might actually have to make an episode of the podcast where we kind of talk about it all. If you're interested in that, comment down below. We might have to bring the podcast back and do an episode. I think it'd be pretty fun. Anyways, we're now going to move on to the post-production of this video. This is where the magic happens. And when it came to the editing process, we actually had a lot of help from Tommy. You may remember him, he is still alive and well. And he actually helped us cut this entire thing together, which was great. When it came to the actual cutting, it was pretty straightforward as we did have a storyboard that we were trying to stick to. So in the editing process, it's pretty much just kind of plug it in and make sure it kind of all works together. Now, an area where a lot of the editing actually took place is the sound designing of the video. And for that, we got the help of our friend Eric, who is actually a previous winner of the TMS editing contests. He is very talented when it comes to sound design, so we knew that we had to get his help on this project. We wanted the sound design of this video to be similar to our last POV video, which is very centered around the sound effects and not so much the music. We wanted the sound effects to be much more prominent than the music was. We really wanted people to feel immersed when they were watching this video and actually feel like they're standing right there when it's being filmed. So you can hear the harbor and the boats as well as cars driving by. And with it being a POV video, we wanted it to, again, be very sound effect heavy. So if you noticed, we had a lot more sound effects than we did music, and music isn't really prominent, and that was the idea that we were going for. Now, if you're wondering where we got our sound effects and music from, they are all provided by Epidemic Sound. This video would not have been possible without their help, and they are pretty much the only reason why this video sounds so good. Epidemic Sound offers a huge selection of music, but also a sound effects library of over 90,000 sound effects, which was perfect for this project, and we took full advantage of it. Their sound effect library also has this really handy tagging system that makes it extremely easy to find the exact sound effect that you're looking for. Trust me, there is nothing worse than knowing exactly what sound effect you want in your head, but you just don't know how to describe it. And this tagging system helps you do exactly that really easily. Another thing that Epidemic Sound helps with is music licensing. If you're a content creator, you're probably aware that you can't just use any music in your videos, especially if you want to monetize it. You need to get a license first. Epidemic Sound makes this really easy, as when you sign up, you input all of your social channels, and then they're all safe listed so you can use their music and sound effects across all of your social platforms and monetize it as well with no hassle. Seriously, if you are at all interested in getting premium music and sound effects for your videos, I can't recommend Epidemic Sound enough. And by using the link in the description, you can get yourself a 30-day free trial. But also, if you want to get yourself 50% off their annual subscription, use code TMS50 at checkout and you can get just that. If you have ever wanted to help support our channel, getting a subscription to Epidemic Sound using our link in the description is probably the easiest way. So make sure you click the link in the description and take advantage of your 30-day free trial. You definitely will not regret it. Moving right along, we're actually going to touch on the color grading, and this video is actually professionally colored by Jake. I'm sure you've actually seen a lot of his stuff before, as he color grades a lot of videos for a bunch of different creators. And he did a great job making our footage look absolutely amazing. Anyways, that is pretty much it for the post-production of this video. Quick shameless self-plug here is that if you are interested in having POV footage for your own video, because I know we've had some questions from our last POV video of people wanting to rent the rig or hire us out, we can definitely do that. Send us an email at hello@tmsmedia.ca. Anyways, that is pretty much it for the behind the scenes of our Vancouver POV video. I hope you guys enjoyed and maybe learned a thing or two. If you stuck around for this entire video without watching the main video, I don't know why you did that, but you should definitely go and check it out. If you're new here, go and follow us on Instagram at tmsproductions_, and we'll see you guys next week with another video. Okay, bye.